Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again. Perfect timing, huh? It's like the magic wand. Abracadabra. Poof! We have improvements. We have military grade improvements. Okay, before I go on and go into anything, I'm just going to clear these and then I'll tell you what it's all about. A little pointy thing there. Okay, we have one pistol. We are clear. Nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine. That one is clear. Decock. Put that back. Other pistol. We are clear. Nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine. We are clear. Decock. Okay. Put that back. Okay. What we have here are my two Derya Maliks with some Beretta improvements, obviously. I already said why, not only because of the look, but I hated that heavy checkering on the Derya Malik grips. It was just too much. And these are a little bit thinner, and these actually hold the trigger bar that moves back and forth over here. This grip has provisions to hold this tighter to the frame. Not restricted, but tighter. I was getting some problems when I wasn't getting a complete double action drop, and that's because the grip was allowing this trigger bar to bow out. So I adjusted the trigger bar spring and put these grips on it to solve that problem. Not a big deal. Your mileage may vary. Anyway, just wanted to show you all of the internal improvements rather, that I have changed, upgrades. I have changed out with USGI M9 new surplus parts. I did have a couple of light primer strikes, but they were with reloads with one of these pistols, so I just decided to give both pistols the once over. Went through the slides completely, and the slides, the only improvements I made to the slide was I basically gutted it, and I put in the slide. First, started off with replaced. This is all the original parts right here. I replaced the recoil springs with Beretta original USGI recoil springs. This is the two recoil springs I took out. Slide improvements also. I've removed the original Derya Malik firing pin assemblies. There's your striker that pivots out of the way when you rotate your safety selector to decock. The other part of the firing pin that actually strikes the round, this would hit that and then ignite the round, obviously, by hitting the primer. And right over here is your return spring for the firing pin, and this goes like so over here. So you got something that looks like kind of like this when it's all in line, and that's your return spring right over there. So anyway, those are replaced. I also replaced, obviously, the safety selectors. Both safety selectors were replaced because I had disassembled one slide because I was getting light primer strikes, and I wanted to clean out any leftover. Maybe there might have been some, I don't know, manufacturing debris in there, or who knows what. Something could have been a little burry in there. It can be a very small thing to cause a very big problem. So I went through it, cleaned out the slide, and then when I actually tried to put this back on, the ambi arm is held on by this ungodly abortion of a it's a roll pin, basically. Look how big that thing is. This gigantic monstrosity of a roll pin. And what Derya did is they just, I'm not getting good focus. Come on, focus. Maybe that's a little bit better. Right over here, don't know if you can see it, but they put this big hole, this gigantic hole. Can I get this to focus? Maybe. They put this gigantic hole right there, and it just goes right through. See that hole? Let me move this out of the way. And that's what holds your ambi arm on. And what was happening after I had disassembled it and tried to put this thing back together again, it was doing one of these. And I mentioned this already in one of my past videos. But anyway, this had to go. The selector worked fine. It just had to go because of that. So I replaced it, obviously, with new old stock Beretta original equipment M9 safety selectors. Solved that problem, and I'll show you why in a second. Inside of the frame, the only improvement I made in the frame, so to speak, thus far, is I replaced the mainspring, or the hammer spring. The one, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a 16-pounder, or it's not quite as stout. And everyone's going to say, oh, why'd you put a heavier one? You're going to get a heavier trigger pull. I put in USGI spec because these are going to be service grade. 20-pound original USGI mainspring. And yes, the double action pull is heavy, but it's safe. I know I'm going to get proper ignition because now I have cleaned out all the channels and replaced all of the internal slide components with original Beretta. I didn't mic these. They seem to be completely in spec, so I'm saving these as spares. But I put in the Beretta stainless steel firing pin assemblies, Beretta firing pin return springs, Beretta 20-pound mainsprings. Everything functions perfectly fine. And I'm going to show you right now why I went ahead and didn't go back to the original Derya safety switch. You saw the big hole, right? I don't know if you can see this. Do you see those two holes now on top? That's Beretta. This is not going to go anywhere now. So now that's correct. You get good movement. One-handed movement on this side, and you go to the ambi side, and you got one-handed movement. And I'm doing this with my offhand. There you go. And I'm going to say with this pistol, one out of the two, I actually did have to do a little fitting. When I put the parts that actually engage, I'll use this as the example. The parts here, the grooves in between that, do I have a better pointer? I don't have one available right now, sorry. Oh, I'll use the pen. The parts, the cams that actually engage the different mechanical parts of the pistol, they're identical. Everything's identical. The way this is machined, completely identical. But with every pistol, they say, may require some hand fitting. And in this case, one of these was a drop-in, pretty much, and the other one did require some hand fitting. And I'll point out to you what I had to do. This was a little rough riding in the back channel over here. So I took a flat file and I went, there's a flat spot here, and I just took a little material off, dropped it back in when it was stripped, the slide was stripped, moved it around till it moved freely, but you know, not too freely, not sloppily. But I fit it in. You can see it's got nice movement now. Now, on the other side, there's two detents. You get a detent that goes actually in the arm right here. It recesses in the arm. And the other one is just a smaller detent, which is secondary detent. It sits down in the frame. So when you're pushing this mess in, you got to push one side in a little bit and then just capture the first pin. Then you stick the other one in. It's like a three-handed affair, and then you got to get like a flathead screwdriver, push it in, then boom, pop that back in to capture everything. If you've never done it before, I suggest using a large plastic bag, and get your hands in it, because something will go into outer space and you'll never see it again. But anyway, the other adjustment I had to make is I was getting on one of these, like I said, just one had happened. It was really hard to disengage that sear on this side. So what I had to do is, there's like a turret on the bottom of this. I took it apart again, and I just slowly took a flat file and I relieved, like I just put like a little, I beveled the corner where the detent rides over, and then I took some 1000 grit sandpaper and I smoothed it out, and then I was fine. I also hand polished the Derya made detents. They were a little rough. I admit they were a little rough, so I put them on a 1000 grit wet sanding block, and I polished them up. just with the sandpaper, basically, 1000 grit. They were nice and smooth. They look like stainless. Then I put a protective coat of oil over them. They're fine. Just for good measure, I ordered 4 extra sets directly from Beretta. I spent some time with Beretta USA on the phone today, and they're going to send me out 4 new detents, left and right side, and the detent spring. So I'll have those in case I need them down the line. So I made those improvements, and you see the other pistol. Even though they're the same parts and the same pistol, everything's a little different. I said this before in one of my last videos. You could have 100 pistols, and they're all going to be off by a little, or maybe the machines go out of adjustment, and then the parts go out of whack a little bit. I mean, that's why you have to have some hand adjustments. They have to recalibrate is what I'm trying to say. But this one, see, got nice. Ambi safety is working nice. And once again, you've got, focus. You've got the 2 tiny little roll pins. Let me see. Right here. Let me get a focus. There you go, right there. And there's one right in the front, right there. So you got those tiny, tiny little roll pins. And those roll pins, by the way, did not come with the lever. You have to have a roll pin assortment. And I forget the size, but I'm just going to say this. I don't know if they're like 1/16 of an inch or something like that. I forget. But they're really, really tiny. But anyway, these happen to be, I didn't have to cut them down. I have literally like 1,000 different size roll pins. And I measured out the holes, and I measured the roll pins. And what I did is I took the tip of the roll pin, because it was a little blunt, and I took a flat file, and I beveled the tip of the roll pin to get it started, held it with a pair of needles, pliers, and took my brass hammer, started slowly tapping them in until they got a tooth. And then I took a punch that was larger than the top of that roll pin, and then I finished it off like that, and it worked out perfectly fine. But now you have a proper safety mechanism, and you have all USGI parts. Pistol functions perfectly fine. Double action. Single action. And I'm going to show you something. Watch the reset on this puppy. Now, this is typical of all Berettas and any 92 series pistol. Watch my finger. This one's got a pretty good reset. I'm at the wall right now, and it'll break again. Now, I'm going to show you the other one. It's a little different. That's why I say everything's always a little different in the tolerances, the way they're made. I'll drop the magazine to make this easier. Okay. Rack the slide. Actually, first of all, let me decock. We'll do the double action pull. Safety off. Double action pull. Exactly what you'd expect, right? A long, heavy pull. Now, let's do single action. This one seems to be a little tighter, but it's the same. Same poundage, 20-pound hammer spring. Okay, so now, there's your take-up. There's your wall. There's your brake. Now, let's cycle that slide. And we're going to check the reset. Ready? Now watch. Watch my finger. You heard it click, right? That was the reset. You got to come back a little bit. So there's a little slop in this one. But I've noticed that with even my original Beretta 92s, they all do that. They got that little bit of slop. So let me do this again. Ready? Watch that. Watch that reset. Hear the click? Right there. Now, watch my finger. See that? This take up. I mean, that's probably designed in for a safety mechanism, because then, of course, you're going to have your brake. Or you could just decock it, whichever. Anyhow, they all work like that. So, that's what I did to these pistols. I was thinking about getting the was it Langley Tactical trigger bars, but I'm not going to bother. You want to know why? To me, these are service grade pistols. I'm not looking for to hot rod them. They work fine. They work as designed. This one's actually got a little bit better of a reset. I guess it's just the luck of the draw on the machining when they come out. They both work perfectly fine. Just this one has a little more slop in the reset. Once you come out, you get the click, but then you get a little slop before you can come back and hit the wall. But like I said, literally. And anybody that has a regular stock Beretta 92, if they tell you otherwise, they're most likely not telling you the truth. So they're fine. I have not yet taken them to the range to fire them. I will soon. I will come back with a final report. I don't know. Maybe I will diddle with it a little more. But then here's the thing. If you go with the Langley Tactical trigger bar, then you change your trigger bar, right? Then you go, okay, change the trigger bar, get rid of that. All right, I want to go with, like, say, a 14-pound mainspring. They say 13 pounds is the minimum before you can have light strike problems. I don't know if I trust that or not. In a range gun, okay, but for what these are intended, these are service pistols, so they have to be service reliable under any conditions, with hot primers, with whatever. So the bottom line is that I want reliability, durability, and it's still smooth. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Berettas are smooth. The actions are smooth. The triggers can be heavier, but it still can be a consistent, smooth trigger pull with a predictable break. And in single action, you're still getting, maybe you're getting a 4.5 pound break. And you know something? There's only one way to actually figure that out. Let me pause for a second. I'm going to get my trigger gauge, and I'm not even going to bother testing in double action, but I want to test the single action trigger break and see what we come up with the 20-pound springs. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm back. Okay, have the pistol. Going to drop the magazine. We know it's clear. She's cocked on single action. Let's see what we can come up with for a trigger pull. I'm going to try to get... Okay. So everyone at home, here we go. We get a nice manual wheeler gauge. She's zeroed out. Let's see what we got. I'm going to hold my finger here just to keep it from slipping up. Three and a half, just over 3.5 on the single. Let me try that again. And you see what I mean? I mean, you don't want more than lighter than that on a single action pull. That's probably why they have that little bit of slop in it. So that's like a built-in margin of safety. It's an extra little, do I want to pull this trigger? One more time. Try her again. Zeroed. Okay. See that? On that pull, I got 4. Just over 4. Best of 3, right? We'll do one more. Zeroed. Okay. Now almost at 4. So listen, I think we could call it 3.5. You're probably going to get a consistent 3.5. I can do one more for good measure. What do I got here? Okay, let me see if I can get square on it. It's down the bottom. We're zeroed. Yeah. So there we are. So when I get a good pull on it, I'm getting between 3.5 and 4. So you could probably call this a 3. How about best of 4? Just for schniznats and giggles. All right, so you can call it a 3 3/4, okay? 3 3/4, 3.5, and that is a very good pull. It still gives you a measure of safety, and that's what you want. Now that's pistol number one. Let's try the other one. Let's try the twin. Are those dual gold-colored Desert Eagle gold-plated pistol arrows? No, they're not. They're Berettas. I'm sorry. They're Derya Malik's. Okay. Pistol 2. We are clear. We are zeroed. Just does not want to cooperate, right? There you go, zeroed. Here we go. All right. Pull 1. First pull, just over 3.5. So that's the first pull I got with the other one too. So you're probably looking at 3 3/4. Zero out again. Get another pull on it. Pull it, pull it. Okay, don't get excited. I'm talking about the pistol. Here we go. Ready? Pull number 2. Now that one was a faster pull, and I just went over 4. Pull number 3. Okay, of course, zeroed out again. Come on. Just over 4 again. Now it's going to be my last one. I'm really going to try to take my time with this one and see what I can get out of it. Okay, here we go. I'm not even sitting down. Mr. Bigglesworth has got my chair. Okay. Oh, come on, you. Gonna focus? There you go. So it's like 3 3/4. So they're very consistent. I did a good job. Let me tell you, when I took these slides apart, I cleaned them out. I had pipe cleaners in there. I had Q-tips in there. Q-tips, cotton swabs. I had all kinds of stuff going on in there. I gave them a really good cleaning. So I made sure that there was nothing burry. There was nothing that was going to catch anything up. I wanted to make sure there was no excuse for any materials to cause any grind or any friction. So I'm pretty much where they're going to be. The only way I could lighten that is to change the mainspring, and I really don't see the need to, because I want reliability out of it. You can see the mess of parts. Of course, that's ×2 because there's 2 pistols here. But this is what you're going to get. But I know I have Beretta parts inside of pistols. Let's face it, people. These are 1-for-1 copies of Beretta. That's proof positive also that the parts are all interchanged. I put all Beretta parts in it. I put a Beretta safety in it. I did, you saw my barrel swap between the Gerson and Regard. It's possible if you change out the locking blocks. But I want to point something out about the extractors. On this one, let's see if I can get a focus on it. Okay, see that? Right there. This is what I want to point out. Now, this is the factory extractor, okay? Now, I ordered some Beretta M9 extractors. Now, that looks like the extractor spring is, like, oversprung. Now, that's the original Derya extractor spring. So, I'm actually going to replace this whole extractor with a Beretta M9 extractor. Plus, they have a little bit of paint on it, too, for an indicator that no one ever uses. Like what they call it, like a loaded chamber indicator. But you notice this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to compare to the other one, because I'll tell you what else I did as an experiment. This is in there perfectly fine. The cavity for the extractor spring is cut at like a 45-degree angle, and it sits in at an angle. It doesn't sit straight in, so it's supposed to be like that. But this is an oversized extractor spring, and I don't know why. Focus. Come on. Come on, focus. Come on, baby. Focus. Really? Might get to find the sweet spot. This is really... Is it annoying you too? Oh, there you go. Okay, that's better. The camera likes that. But you can see it. It's like there's too much spring. The spring's too large. I don't know if they were overcompensating, but you can see it. And go like this. And you can hear it. You can feel it. It's bumped out. The rear of the extractor is bumped out. Let me see if you can see it from the top. See that? See how it's bumped out? That's actually so large, that spring. It's so beefy, it's actually pushing out. And here's the other one. Now, I installed a Wilson Combat extractor spring, chrome silicone extractor spring from Wilson Combat. In the other one, because I only had one left, I ordered a few more. So I put it in this pistol as long as I had the part. When I do get the Beretta extractors, this spring's going to go in the Beretta extractor, and that's going to go in here, the whole unit. All right, now, here's the other one that I did put the Wilson Combat spring in. See that? It's pretty flush. Now, you can see, of course, because there's a gap, and you can see in, but it's not blowing out like the one with the stock factory spring. It's a lot less protrusion. Now, it's supposed to stick out a little bit. That's normal. Let's see if I can get a side-by-side. Oh, that's going to be hard. Can you see the difference? See that? Look at that. See the difference? There you go. That's perfect. You can see it now. Derya, you got to calm down with your extractor springs. That's too much, because that can be bad too. Oversprung can be bad too. You can see how the extractor sits differently in the pistol. It actually is sitting higher at the point of extraction because this is oversprung. So that could cause you a problem, which could lead to a stovepipe, because if you can't extract, well, guess what? That spent casing is going to be stuck in there, and another one's going to try to feed up in there, and boom, you're going to get a double feed. So, like I said, I put a Wilson Combat extractor spring in this one, and you can see the difference in how it sits. One more comparison. That one's bulged out. This one, sitting the way it's supposed to sit. But I'm going to change it. The extractors out with Beretta units. Not that these don't work, but I'm anal like that. Sorry, guys. Since this is a Beretta platform, and there's plenty of M9 parts out there, because the military in its infinite wisdom got rid of a great weapon, and, well, it's an opportunity for us, right? There's parts aplenty out there. That's another reason why I got this. 100% parts interchangeability as far as I can see so far. It's an excellently machined pistol. Are you going to find some rough edges? I don't think so. I haven't found anything. You saw my videos as far as how the slides are machined, and literally, and I said it once, and I'm going to say it again. If you're eating, hold on to your lunch or your dinner right now, whatever you're eating. The internals are as smooth as a baby's ass. Smooth as a baby's ass. Beautifully machined. Just clean it out good. If you're going to do a disassembly, do a good cleaning, then do a reassemble. Lube everything well. Make sure everything fits good. Test fit. If you need to, if you buy some replacement parts, don't be afraid to fit them a little bit. Don't file on the pistol. File on the part. Always file on the cheapest part, because that's obviously the cheapest thing. I think the safety selectors were like $40 a piece. But so for $80 shipped, I replaced both safeties. And then I don't know if these were like $10. I got like a package deal with all the springs and everything. Another like $35 for, I'm sorry, it was like another $60 for all of these springs. So say for like 40, so for $70, I was able to do all the upgrades I just told you about. And that's shipping included. Still can't beat it. Can't beat it. Anyway, time's going to tell. I'm sure it's going to be fine. When my Beretta extractors come in, I might do a short on that. Those should be here tomorrow, hopefully. And then I have another 2-pack of Wilson Combat chrome silicone extractor springs. And that's going to find its way onto the Beretta extractors. And they're both going the Beretta extractors in these pistols. Anyway, hey, listen, I hope that you guys got some value out of this. Thank you so much for watching. And hey, I don't know if any of you guys are, let me see, if you guys are on the email list to Rock Island Armory. I want to thank Rock Island Armory. Thank you very much. Can we get a focus on Rock Island Armory? There you go. Thank you so much, Rock Island Armory, for putting one of my videos on your website. I guess I did like an influencer thing, and I happened to be one of the videos on the Derya Malik. So thank you for that. We get the word out on these great pistols. Please, if you like this content, and I think you do, like, subscribe, thumbs up, and share the video. That's the only way we're going to get the word out there. It's an educational process. And one other thing. Before I took the slide apart, I had this gigantic clear bag to manipulate all these parts, because when these parts come out, if you don't, when you're pushing this out after you have this handle off, obviously, something's going to launch. So the bag catches everything. So if you're going to do it, don't shy away from it. There are excellent, and I'm going to link them to my community section, instructional videos. Some guys did masterful jobs, step-by-step, disassembly and reassembly. I'm talking step-by-step. I watched that like 2 or 3 times when I was, exercising or whatever. So I would know step-by-step exactly what to do, because up until this point, I had very limited experience taking these. I have before, but it had been a long time since I was in the armory, and it was just a good refresher course. So I strongly suggest watching those. I will link those in my community section for everybody later on if you're going to attempt this. Great pistol, excellent pistol with tremendous potential. Don't get me wrong, we're really good out of the box, but you can really bring out the full potential of these pistols if you put a little bit into them, okay? And still, for a fraction of you-know-who. Anyway, love you guys and gals. Thanks for watching. And please, I hate to be redundant, thumbs up and like and subscribe, share. And I will see all you guys later on. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.